Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. It's so great to have you all here with us. This is always my favorite time of year, and your sons and daughters, friends and family have done great things, and we want to recognize them. I'm Steve Payne. I'm Dean of the Columbus School of Law here at the Catholic University of America, and today it is my pleasure to welcome you to the institution's special programs certificate presentation ceremony for the class of 2023. I'm gonna have to get my glasses out. This is a little far away from me, but the law school is extremely proud of each and every one of its graduates. But 29 students who received their certificates today deserve special recognition. They've taken many challenging courses and externships, and they've worked hard to master legal skills and competencies that these certificates that they're receiving today represent. We like to say that every one of our graduates leaves this law school practice ready. It's more than a slogan. It's really the truth for all of our graduates. They enter the workforce already equipped with what it takes to be a successful practitioner, or there's always new things that they have to learn. But the employers are lucky to get them and clients who benefit from them. This is even more true of the students being recognized today, who devoted the time and effort to obtain expertise in these areas of specialty: compliance investigations and corporate responsibility, law and public policy, law and technology, comparative and international law, and securities law. These are some of the most dynamic practice areas today. Because the reputations that these institutes and programs have within the legal community and the superb professional connections of our faculty directors of these programs, our students are well positioned to launch into stimulating careers that will reward them for decades to come. And what they've learned here will undoubtedly reward their clients for decades to come. Many of our students receiving certificates today also participated in related journals and moot court competitions, and have had opportunities to delve into cutting-edge legal, political, and social topics through their own research and writing. In cooperation with the directors, students have helped to organize lectures, panels, and conferences. I'd like to take just a few moments to share some highlights of some of these compelling and important programs, particularly over the last year. This past fall, the Conference on Environmental, Social, and Governance Investing under the Federal Securities Laws was organized by the Securities Law Programs Director, Jack Murphy. Among expert panelists, students from the Securities Law Program, Thomas Archer, Tyler Buchholz, and Daisel Lee, and Lauren Ferrero from the Compliance Investigations and Corporate Responsibility Program also gave their own presentations. I love this conference because the students were right there with all the experts engaging in commentary. 2 months ago, 3 experts from the public and private sectors participated in a panel discussion of cross-border corruption and international compliance efforts. The panel discussion was co-sponsored by the Law School's Compliance Investigations and Corporate Responsibility Program and the Securities Law Program. Third-year students Sydney Cherry, candidate for certificate in Securities Law, and Claire Glasso, candidate for certificate in Compliance, served as moderators for a distinguished panel of experts. Again, you can see our student involvement in these expert panels. In February, Ambassador Marek Mogorowski, the Poland ambassador to the United States, addressed the student body with a talk on Poland at the border of Putin's war against Ukraine in the West. This event was sponsored by a number of law student groups, including the Comparative International Law Institute, the International Law Students Association, International Human Rights Summer Law Program in Rome, and the International Business and Trade Summer Law Program in Krakow, and the Law and Public Policy Program. Third-year law student Lydia Korstelova, a native of Ukraine, gave the introduction. In February, the Law and Technology Institute and its alumni association presented the annual Dean William Callahan Robinson Lecture Series, exploring law and tech, program overview and perspectives from the alumni and faculty, where, among other things, Scott Watkins spoke to the students about the successful transition from law school to the law firm. And our co-directors, Professor Megan Lavelle and Professor Beth Winston, gave an update to our very robust law and technology alumni, an update on the program. Also under the umbrella of the Law and Technology Institute, the Journal of Law and Technology held its 2023 Spring Symposium earlier this semester. The program Ask App Not to Track, Addressing National Security and Data Privacy Vulnerabilities in Wearable Technology, invited students, faculty, and guests to hear from experts providing in-depth analysis and exploration of security concerns related to wearable technology. Zachary Amon, a third-year editor-in-chief of the Catholic University Journal of Law and Technology, Volume 31 provided a brief overview of the aims of the Journal of Law and Technology at this event, which was moderated by Erhan Bedestani, a graduating student of our evening division. Also, under the Law and Technology Institute umbrella, Catholic Law's Moot Court Association and Law and Technology Institute partnered with the Federal Communications Bar Association. This is an annual event where they welcome competitors to the law school for the 29th annual National Telecommunications and Technology Moot Court Competition. 9 teams representing 7 schools competed on campus in 2-day event before experienced communications law practitioners addressing current topics in communications and technology law. The competition boasted a strong panel of judges throughout, including our alumni, current FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, class of 2005, and Senior Manager, Regulatory Policy and Government Affairs at Apple, our alum Megan Stahl, 2003, who were the final round delegates. Mr. Brian Svoboda, partner at the law firm Perkins Coie here in town and director of our Law and Public Policy program, has developed a reputation for bringing together practitioners from both sides of the aisle to discuss topics of practical life in politics and policy. The Law and Public Policy lecture series included this year these topics: Election 2022, what happened, what's next? A conversation with 2 plugged-in Catholic Law alumni. Cybersecurity for the public policy lawyer, protecting yourself in a world of digital threats. Congressional ethics, handling high wattage matters in a fast-paced environment. In February, Securities Law Program's alumni and students came together for the annual Securities Group Alumni Luncheon. The guest speaker was Eric Pan, President and CEO of the Investment Company Institute, who spoke to the group on the subject of what does securities regulation mean today. Director Murphy also recognized 2 students at that event who were selected as this year's Securities Scholarship recipients, 3rd-year students Tyler Buchholz and Thomas Archer. Finally, also earlier this semester, it was quite a busy spring, securities law students, I'm not even mentioning everything, securities law students participated in Fordham University Law School's annual Irving R. Kaufman Memorial Securities Law Moot Court Competition in New York City. I could go on, but you see my point. A certificate education at the Columbus School of Law is also an education in real-world concerns and practice, and lots of networking. The excellence of our institutes is a direct result of the vision and dedication of the work of the directors, to whom we are very grateful, and whom I will now begin to introduce for the presentation of the certificates. First, we have Professor Sarah Duggan, who's the director of our Compliance Investigations and Corporate Responsibility Program. I'll just say a couple of words about each one off the top of my head. Sarah she teaches corporations and constitutional law. She directs the compliance program, but like many of our law faculty, has a ton of private practice experience as well. Sarah was general counsel in healthcare and other industries as well. So thank you very much, Sarah, for presenting the certificates.
Thank you, Dean Payne, and good afternoon, everyone. As Dean Payne said, I'm Sarah Duggan, and I have the privilege of directing our Compliance Investigations and Corporate Responsibility Program. I think it's also the longest name for any institute or program, so we call it CICR for short. And it's such a joy to be here with you today as we celebrate the accomplishments of our certificate winners. All the members of the class of 2023 are a remarkable group of people. They have succeeded in law school in one of the most challenging times in our history. And certificate winners, we are especially proud of you. Each one of you brings unique gifts to our profession and our world, gifts that no one but you can offer. We need you, so strive to do well in all that you do. We know that you will do great things, but remember to do good things too, because it's not only about practicing and being the most accomplished technical lawyer, it's also about giving generously of yourselves in what is at its very core a helping profession. So dare to be kind, dare to care, and please remember that in giving of yourself, you're doing a really important thing in this world. And one other thing, as the dean mentioned, don't forget that your accomplishments are not due to you alone. So I want to take a moment just to say congratulations to your parents, and spouses, and significant others, and brothers, and sisters, and children, aunts, and uncles, and all of those people who have supported our certificate winners along the way. Thank you. And thank you, Dean Payne, Dean O'Leary, Dean Crowley, Dean Shepp, Dean McDermott, my faculty colleagues, especially many of whom today, some are former students who have come back to be here for this time because they now have taken their place teaching courses here. And I want to say a special thank you to Constantia Dedulis. There's Constantia. There she is. Constantia. Creativity and dedication to all of our students has really made these programs possible and continues to do so. So now, as I prepare to introduce our 5 members of the class of 2023 who are going to receive their compliance investigation support responsibility certificates, I want to remind you that, as Dean Payne said, they've completed a series of demanding requirements. They've learned about the discipline of legal compliance, about helping large organizations in particular become ethical, law-abiding organizations and understand how to adhere to the rule of law. They've learned about designing and implementing compliance programs, studied investigative techniques, and explored the social responsibility of businesses, because businesses impact each one of us as constituents, as employees, as owners, as members of communities, and members of this world. And if you take a moment to think about it, well over half of this world's largest economies are corporate, not country. And these global organizations exert tremendous influence over all of our lives. So do significant not-for-profit organizations and government agencies, all of whom need to be held accountable to the rule of law. Our students have prepared themselves to enter into this demanding part of the legal profession, and their work is extremely important, and perhaps more than ever, as we're all reading about artificial intelligence and the way in which it will, not may, but will change our world, and particularly all of the organizations, including the private sector, that are so intertwined with it. Because in a very real sense, lawyers who work in compliance and corporate responsibility are the consciences of their organization. They help their organizations adhere to the rule of the law, but they also provide moral and ethical leadership. And RCICR certificate winners are ready. They're extraordinarily bright and talented individuals who have worked in jobs and externships in a wide variety of legal disciplines. Some already have helped with the design of compliance programs and building of strong corporate ethical cultures. So it's my honor and my great joy to award the certificate in compliance investigations and corporate responsibility to 5 terrific people. We're going to start with Zachary Amen. Zachary. Person who takes on many different challenges and does them all well. In addition to participating in our program, Zachary's been actively involved in a number of student organizations. He's already been mentioned by the dean as editor-in-chief of our Journal of Law and Technology. He wrote a comment discussing the ethical implications of attorneys' use of dating apps. Bet you don't think about that one every day. And offering ways for organizations to come up with ethics policies that will avoid potential negative implications. He's competed in the Moot Court Association and become Chief Deployment Officer, coaching Moot Court members on oral advocacy and brief writing. He's also served as class representative on the Law School's Council for Professional Conduct, essentially our honor board. And he's done all of this while working as a law clerk with the DC firm. After graduation, Zachary will begin work at the Spiegel Law Firm in Alexandria, Virginia, representing workers in discrimination and wrongful termination cases, as well as in other labor and employment matters. And I know that Zachary's clients will be in the best of hands. Congratulations. And now, Lauren Ferrara. Lauren. Lauren is about to receive her second degree from the Catholic University of America because in 2019, Lauren received her Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from CUA at the very top of her class, and we were lucky enough to persuade her to come across campus for law school. Lauren is the kind of person who works hard and quietly excels at every endeavor, as evidenced by the fact that she was on the dean's list every semester of law school. In addition to our program, Laura's been a member of the CUA Law Review, Chief Operating Officer of the Moot Court Association, and Vice President of the Securities Law Student Association. Lauren accomplished all of this while spending her first 3 years working full-time as an auditor for the United States Treasury Department Inspector General of the Tax Administration. Do not mess with Lauren. Then as a legal intern for the Department of Defense Inspector General for the Office of General Counsel. After law school, Lauren will be working with the Hannon Law Group, Hannon LLP. Congratulations, Lauren.
But before Lauren leaves, we have to say one more thing about the gentleman behind the camera here, because we need one more picture, and I know someone will take one. Mr. Ferraro, come on up. Marketing and communications for about a decade, I think, right? And Joe, I don't know how he would survive without Joe. It's all he's done in conferences and in everything to get our programs out there in the public and to take care of this law school and to jump into so many other things that are even his job to help us. And Joe, I know he's terribly embarrassed, but I don't get it. So I want to say thank you, and thank you for your outstanding jobs as a parent, most of all.
Now, everybody else in law school can take a picture.
Monica Fry. Deep interest in communication and technology. Monica knew what she wanted, and she has tirelessly pursued her passion for information and technology, law, and compliance with amazing dedication. Along with her CICR studies, Monica served as class representative to the Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity, and she was a member of the Law and Technology Student Association and the Irish American Law Students Association. She's interned for 2 judges in the Circuit Court of Fairfax County, Judges White and Saylor, and she has also worked with Lighthouse and worked with the FCC during her time in law school. She recently completed a huge project with Flying Colors, which was an ambitious research and writing project on employer monitoring and employer privacy in the workplace based on US federal and state data privacy laws. And she presented that research at the university's Research Day this spring. Monica will remain in Washington after law school, and she plans to work in the information privacy field, eventually transitioning to in-house counsel. So Monica, we're counting on you to help keep us all safe from privacy pirates and AI bandits. Congratulations. Claire Lasso. Lasso comes from a Catholic law family. Her mom and dad and her mom and granddad are alums. And I know that you all the family has been very proud of Claire as she has pursued the proud Catholic law tradition. Claire came to law school with both an interest and an expertise in corporate responsibility as a result of her work facilitating corporate due diligence efforts as an open source network analyst investigating various organizations who've been sanctioned by the United States and the United Nations. During her second and third years, Claire played an extremely important role for our program and for me as our student coordinator. And she served in addition as an associate editor of the Journal of Law and Technology and member of Students for Public Interest Law. Off campus, Claire has interned with the United States Department of Justice Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs Section and worked with an international trade law firm. After graduation, Claire will join the United States Department of Justice Criminal Division, where she'll help investigate and prosecute money laundering and asset forfeiture cases. All I can say is, watch out, money launderers. And now our final and CICR certificate winner is John Roberts. John is one of the most deeply engaged students I've ever had the pleasure of teaching. He came to Catholic law after working as a special investigator and serving in the United States Army Reserves. In law school, John served on the Journal of Law and Technology and is a member of Students for Public Interest Law. John's held a number of positions during the past 3 years, including a judicial internship in the Circuit Court of Fairfax County for Judge the Honorable John M. Tran, a legal internship in the BBB National Programs Office of General Counsel, where he earned a certificate as an arbitrator for disputes between automobile manufacturers and new vehicle owners, and he served as an assistant to the Pro Bono Council of the District of Columbia Court of Appeals Pro Bono Mediation Council. John's also done pro bono work for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, served as a speaker for the DC Lawyer Assistance Program, and volunteered for the Alpha Phi Omega Service Fraternity. Following graduation, John's going to be staying in the DC area, where I know he will be a credit to our profession working in the health law field. Congratulations.
Congratulations, CISR.
Thank you, Professor Duggan. Next up is our Comparative and International Law Institute certificates. Many of the students will know Professor Jeff Watson, Professor Emeritus Jeff Watson, who recently retired. And so we're very happy to have with us today presenting these certificates, Professor Bob Destro, who has probably been here many years, probably taught everything in the school at one time or another, but in particular lately conflict of laws and a human rights practicum. He also recently served as Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor. Bob?
Thanks, Steve, and it's a great pleasure to be here, not only to represent my friend and colleague Jeff Watson, but also to congratulate not only all of you who are going to get the certificates, but also to congratulate the family that supports them. You know, this is I still remember vividly talking to my wife when she got her PhD. She said, "I don't want to go to graduation." I said, "You have to. Because you have to have pictures." There's no proof that you have your degree other than the fact that you have the wall, but you have to have the pictures too. But let me begin by adding my own words of welcome and congratulations to all of you who went the extra mile to qualify for the certificate. The law school established the Comparative and International Law program almost 40 years ago in 1985 and received permission to grant these certificates a few years later, 3 years later. And today, while we focus on the certificates as an award, I think it's more appropriate to reflect on the learning and experience that these certificates actually reflect. Comparative and international law is a framework that supports international trade and finance, global health programs, international human rights efforts, national security policy, efforts to develop climate policies that respect both local sovereignty and human rights, and the role that international organizations do and should play in the everyday lives of citizens like ourselves. Like the transportation corridors that brought us to this joyful experience today, we take the legal framework that we call comparative and international law for granted. As our awardees understand now more than ever, taking anything for granted in the virtual space that we call comparative and international law would be a serious mistake. The world is changing. And this experience and knowledge that each of you has gained in your courses and externships make it possible for you to make sense of the profound changes that are occurring around the world before our eyes. In order to qualify for this certificate, students are required to take 5 courses in international and comparative law and to complete at least 1 externship with an international organization, law firm, or company. The comparative and international law curriculum requires the foundational course called Public International Law, which focuses on rules governing relationships among nations, and comparative law, the comparative study of the domestic laws of other countries. Students may choose from an array of specialized courses that include comparative international trade, foreign relations, national security, international corruption and compliance, international security regs, human rights law, human trafficking. There's just a ton of stuff out there. And every piece of it is utterly fascinating, at least to a human rights nerd like myself. Students may also satisfy the curricular and externship requirements by participating in one or both of the law school summer abroad programs, with the exception of 20 and 21, when the programs were suspended due to COVID. The International Business and Trade program in Krakow has been in operation for 30 years. And among the benefits of the program in Poland is not simply the opportunities it offers just to grow and live and learn with people from other cultures. Another is experiencing the law as it's practiced abroad in Poland by Polish lawyers and in the European branches of large American law firms. In 2011, our law school launched its International Human Rights Summer Program in Rome. As a human rights lawyer myself, I can attest to the value of the courses that it offers. Things like art, cultural property, human rights, tax policy and human rights in a liberal society, and a number of the students got to work on directed research programs relating to the Holy See and human rights. And you'll hear about at least one of those in a minute. But whatever path our graduates take in service to their clients, the knowledge, skills, and experience that each one of them has acquired will serve them and their clients well. We're proud to acknowledge their accomplishments this afternoon and to send them out to serve, as the university's mission statement says, the church, the nation, and the world. So let me begin with our first certificate awardee, Christopher Decker. We'll do this in 1 second, and let me tell you a little bit about Chris. Chris recalls law school. The law school started off pretty strongly for him. On his first ever law school exam, he got an A+. Not bad. He was the only student to receive that grade in a class section of 85 students. Chris has earned a place on the Dean list 4 times. Among Chris's activities are his participation in the law school's immigrant and refugee advocacy clinic, where he directly worked with clients seeking asylum. His favorite memory took place in the spring 2022 semester. It was on a Thursday afternoon in March. Many of us remember this, sitting wherever he was. He was in a classroom attending public international law, as a matter of fact, when he realized in the middle of the class that he didn't have to wear his mask and so he took it off. So post-graduation, he's been selected to work as a judicial clerk by the U.S. Department of Justice, Executive Office for Immigration Review, through the Attorney General's Honors Program. Chris will work at the Houston Greens Point Park Immigration Court in Houston, Texas. Chris, congratulations. All right, our next awardee is Daniel Johnson. Dan served his law school community as president of the student bar, founder and president of the Alternative Dispute Resolution Team, a staff editor on the Law Review, and he was a recipient of the 2023 Columbus Award. His favorite class was Public International Law with Professor Watson, sitting here. Under the supervision of Professor Seleckia, Dan completed a directed research project entitled The Holy Seas Agreement with China. In this paper, Dan examined the bilateral agreement between the People's Republic of China and the Holy See regarding the appointment of bishops and what remedies the Holy See has now that they accuse the PRC of violating the agreement. The details of which have never been made public. I will have a personal vote of thanks to Dan for his work supporting the People's Constitutional Commission of Belief, where the commission has voted to adopt our work product, which he made major contributions to, as the basis for a countrywide educational campaign to inform Belizeans of what's in their constitution and how it works in both theory and practice. Dan's favorite memory of law school is the annual trade lesson photos that he took with his classmates at the final day. Yeah, congratulations. Okay. Lydia Carrasco is our next awardee. Hey, Lydia is very proud to have contributed to the prosperity of the community through organizing events and conferences, helping to establish an arbitration team, and participating in Ukraine-related events around the campus. After graduation, Lydia is going into public international law and later hopes to establish herself in the utterly fascinating field, at least to me, of international criminal law. Congratulations. Our next awardee is Marcy Kaczynski. Read a little bit about you. Marcy's accomplishments include service as the International Law Student Association's president for 2021-22 and 22-23. The ability to host events, especially the discussion with Kenyatta University in Kenya, made this role extremely enjoyable and rewarding. Working with the individuals on the International Law Students Association Executive Board has been very gratifying. And lastly, assisting with the absolutely fascinating Nuremberg Principles Conference that we had this spring was an extremely interesting project for all concerned. Marcy's favorite class in this program was Public International Law with Professor Watson. In her words, and I quote, and this is, I think, something that every professor loves to hear, he truly believes in his students and was not only a professor from whom I learned a lot, but an amazing faculty advisor to ILSA. I appreciate how encouraging Professor Watson is. He is passionate about international law and roots for his students' success in the field. And I think that's absolutely true about Jeff, and it's absolutely true, I think, also about Marcy. In September, after graduation in the bar, Marcy will begin a judicial clerkship with the Superior Court in Wilmington, Delaware. Okay, and our last but not least, is Nicholas Webb. Nicholas Webb's favorite course was public international law. He completed a 7-month clerkship at the Federal Maritime Commission, working for the Chief Administrative Law Judge. And just as Professor Duggan pointed out earlier about the degree to which compliance and issues like that are kind of ubiquitous in our lives, we couldn't survive without the great people who run and administer the ports on which we survive. It's as we've seen in post-COVID, the work that the Federal Maritime Commission is doing, and the work that the people like Nick will be doing in the boutique maritime law firm with which he has a job after this year or after the summer is much appreciated. So Nick, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Professor Destro. Next up is the Law and Public Policy Program, which is directed by Brian Swoboda. Brian is a longtime partner in the large law firm of Perkins Coie here in town, practices political law, and he, in addition to directing this program for us, also teaches a nonprofit law clinic, which I think you're doing in the summer. Is that right? Right. Thanks very much, Brian. Thank you.
And thank you all very much, and congratulations to all the certificate recipients today. You should all be very, very proud. The Law and Public Policy Program is a unique interdisciplinary program here at the law school, and it tries to leverage really 3 things that are unique about this university. The first is we're in a university generally that's committed toward ordering all things temporal toward the good and the true and the beautiful. And here at the law school, we're particularly interested in developing our professional expertise, as Dean Payne spoke of in his very first remarks here, those practical skills and the lawyer's responsibility in a complex and evolving world. And then lastly, we're taking advantage of the fact that we're here in our nation's capital, which is really the center of where public policy is made. I said before, it used to be if you wanted to make cars, you could go to Detroit. If you want to learn about public policy, Washington, D.C. is no better place to be. So our students complete a curriculum that's consistent with all of these things. They take a couple of required, very practical oriented courses. One, of course, becoming a public policy lawyer exposes them to the diverse array of ways in which a lawyer might positively affect public policy. There's also a public policy practicum where students will take the opportunity to learn about, conceive, develop, and execute on a public policy issue that they've identified. And in many cases, our students have made a very practical difference with the policies that they themselves have developed. And they take other courses besides policy and politics, electives, and externships as well to get that sort of practical experience, as Dean Payne talked about, that real world practicing lawyer experience. Our ranks this year are small but mighty. Like all institutions and all of us, we swooned a little bit in the pandemic, but we're on the upswing. There are about 20 people in the pipeline now toward the certificate. And after we, with bittersweet emotion, lose the 2 who will be receiving our certificates today. And the first of them is Olivia Favreau-Evans. Olivia really exemplifies the excellence that we have here at the law school. She came to us from Emory University, and she was staff editor of the Law Review. She also, in another way, sort of echoes our program. She was a research assistant to Professor Jefferson, helping examine the issues of home ownership and retirement. And Olivia, I think, was the very first student I met when I took over the Law and Public Policy program a year ago last October. And she's been a practical help to us in the program as well. And so it's my deep honor to give her a certificate. Our next recipient is Catherine Williams Weekend. Catherine, I think was the very second person at law school. She worked as a law clerk in the Alexandria Commonwealth Attorney's Office. She's been a clerk for Judge Gardner and Fairfax Circuit Court, and she hopes to return to a career as prosecutor in Alexandria. And Catherine, too, has been very active here in the school and very supportive of the program. And it is my deep honor to give her this certificate. Now, Catherine, you need to stay because we have one more item on our agenda. It is the unique treat for the Law and Public Policy Program to present the Newland Haynes Fellowship. We're very grateful to our benefactors, Maureen Stewart Newland and William Carter Newland. It's an award that was honored or created in the memory of Eleanor Newland and her husband, James Clanton Hayes, who was an alumnus of the law school and also an administrative law judge in the United States government. And it's meant to honor a student who meets certain criteria: commitment to public service, academic and professional achievement while they're at the law school, and service to the community, the law school, and the law and public policy program particularly. It's a unique honor to give this to Catherine. We try to recognize commitment to public service. Her husband, as it turns out, well, she was a prosecutor or running to be a prosecutor in Alexandria, was a police officer as well. So he called mine for me, the TV show Blue Bloods. I was going to try to get Tom Selleck to come and present the plaque, but he sends his regards. But it is my deep honor to give the Newland Hayes Fellowship to Catherine. Thank you. All right, and next up is the Law and Technology Institute.
So our LTI, as we like to call it, is co-directed by Professor Megan LaBelle and Professor Beth Winston. Professor, both of whom have been around for quite some time. Professor LaBelle, maybe they didn't like to hear that, but Professor LaBelle teaches, among other things, civil procedure, administrative law, and introduction to intellectual property. And Professor Winston teaches, among other things, lots of contracts, remedies, and whatever. If that, no, that's relevant to Law and Technology Institute, for sure. So both have, as I said before, like many of our faculty members, lots of private practice experience and contact as well. So welcome to Professor LaBelle and Professor Winston.
Welcome, everyone, as we celebrate our Law and Technology Institute graduating class. The Law and Technology Institute has played an important role in Catholic for over 40 years in the communications bar, in the intellectual property bar, and in the legal profession more generally. Professor LaBelle and I are thrilled to be able to celebrate this special day with all of you, your family, and your friends. It has been a true pleasure teaching and getting to know each of you over the last few years in civil procedure, in contracts, inter-IP, patent law, administrative law, remedies, trademarks. We've pretty much had a chance to get to know everyone in here at some point. You've come a long way since you started law school, and you should be very proud of your many accomplishments. We are confident that each of you has a fruitful legal career ahead of you, and we look forward to watching your transformation from law students to lawyers. We hope all of you will stay in touch, come back to the law school from time to time, and really enjoy today. Congratulations on your graduation and on all of your accomplishments.
So, welcome, everyone. So glad to see everyone here today, family, friends. I'd also like to welcome our distinguished alumni and actual professors, Human and Patrick Haley, who play a very important role in LTI teaching our technology and communications law practicum. I think that's what we're calling it these days. We've changed the name a few times, so thank you for being here today and welcome. So I just want to say a few words about LTI to tell you about our institute. So LTI offers two different tracks for which to choose. So students can either focus on communications law and privacy law or on intellectual property law. And each LTI student pursues the curricular track that he or she's most interested in and that fits their particular needs and goals. But there are plenty of opportunities for our LTI students to collaborate together as a group. So many LTI students participate in the Law and Technology Students Association, and also other organizations like that we've heard about a little bit today, the Catholic University Journal of Law and Technology, for which Professor Winston is the advisor, the Catholic University Law Review, for which I am the advisor, and the National Telecommunications Mid-Core Competition, among many other organizations. So together, our students have planned and participated in programming on a wide range of law and technology topics and always have something interesting to contribute to our community.
Now on to our graduating LTI students who have participated in internships, learned from our faculty, and had their hard work enriched and their lives enriched by Constantine Dedoulis. So thank you. We have evening students, day students, members of the Law Review and the Journal of Law and Technology. We have students who've never taken a class together and students who've had in class together for the duration of their law school career. Most importantly, we have a wonderful group of new alumni to cheer on as they head out to improve the world. This year, 8 students will be awarded the Law and Technology Certificate. As each student comes up, we'll have a few words to say about their accomplishments.
Okay, so our first certificate recipient is Allison K. Baker. Allison concentrated in communications and data privacy law. She made the most of her time here at the law school, making the dean's list, volunteering with Catholic Charities, Immigration Legal Services, and co-authoring 2 articles in the Economic Journal Review of Industrial Organization. She did all of that while working full-time at the FCC during law school, including working on a detail serving as an economic advisor to Chairman Pai. At the FCC, Allison serves as an economic and policy advisor in the Wireline Competition Bureau, Office of the Bureau Chief. Congratulations, Allison.
Joseph Lowey is our next one. I'm sorry, Joe, I will never quite get it right. I'm getting closer. Joe concentrated in intellectual property and founded the Italian American Law Students Association here at CUA with Michael Cozy. His background as a classics scholar fed well into his time here at the law school, where he was able to intern at the Court of Federal Claims. He's looking forward to applying his experience as a private investigator and a paralegal in his career going forward. Congratulations.
Our next recipient is Mary Delaney. Mary concentrated in intellectual property and LTI. She graduated as an evening student in January of 2023 and passed the February New York Book. She will be beginning a position with the IRS Chief Counsel Office next month. Mary is a double alum of Catholic University, having spent her time here as an undergraduate and in law school. Mary's favorite class while in law school was trial practice with Professor and former Dean Dan Attridge. Because having the opportunity to practice a new phase of trial each week allowed her to utilize all the skills she learned throughout my time in law school and see firsthand how it all came together. That's great. Congratulations, Mary.
Hi, DeRose. I met most of your family today, so many of them is here. Kaya concentrated in communications and data privacy. She was president of the Law and Technology Students Association and will be clerking with Judge Moniz Brown in Circuit Court in Charles County, Maryland after graduation. Her favorite class in all of law school was information privacy, and then she had a few others. She had information privacy, cyber law, and administrative law. She's looking forward to actually being able to read for fun, not just, law books, travel, and hike. So congratulations.
Our next recipient is Erin Deers. Erin concentrated in intellectual property in LTI. She was president of the Law and Technology Student Association, and she will be starting a job as a patent attorney at Raphael Bellum in August. Her favorite classes in law school were Introduction to Intellectual Property and Environmental Law, and she is looking forward to moving home to Philadelphia and celebrating graduation by drinking wine in Napa Valley over the Memorial Day weekend. That sounds like a great plan.
And Caroline Freeman. Caroline concentrated in intellectual property with a special interest in entertainment law. She's going to be starting as a business litigation associate with Prince Global in Boston after graduation. She's looking forward to moving home to Massachusetts and some classes, which Professor Leary says she fully supports. As long as you root for the Red Sox, right? She's looking forward to moving home to Massachusetts. The classes she really enjoyed in law school included art law, introduction to intellectual property law, and her favorite class in all of law school was copyright law with Professor Fisher.
The next recipient is Liam Fullen. Liam concentrated in communications and data privacy, and he will be an associate in the telecommunications and data privacy practice groups at Keller and Heckman LLP. He was executive editor of the Journal of Law and Technology, and he was a Columbus School of Law student scholar who presented his article, Eyeing the Next Revolution of Wearable Technology, How the Law Should Frame Smart Glasses. Congratulations to Liam.
And last but far from least is Matthew Perlo. Matthew concentrated in communications and data privacy while working as the Director of Policy for the United States Chamber of Commerce. He is looking forward to resting, traveling, and mastering pickleball post-graduation. The classes he enjoyed most for their content came down to a tie between national security law and antitrust, but as far as the professor went, it was definitely Professor Kevin Walsh for agency and partnership. Congratulations.
And congratulations to all the recipients.
Thank you very much, Professors LaBelle and Winston. Last but not least is our securities law program, and that is directed by Mr. Jack Murphy. Jack was a longtime partner in the large law firm of Deckert here in town, and also held senior positions at the Securities and Exchange Commission, making him uniquely appropriate for this program. He's also an adjunct professor in the program itself. Jack?
Thank you. The securities law program is designed to prepare students to practice law in the field of corporate securities law, an area which has become much more complex over the years and continues to be more and more complex. And over the years, dozens of our alumni have gone on to hold senior positions with the regulators, the SEC, the CFTC, FINRA. Others have gone on to hold positions, partner in other positions, in law firms, and positions right up to the general counsel in legal departments of major investment houses and securities firms. In order to earn the certificate in securities law, a candidate is required to really do a deep dive into the federal securities laws. They're required to, they accomplish this by taking a number of classes, really specialized courses in various aspects of securities law, all of which are taught by experienced securities lawyers. But classroom experience alone is not enough to earn the certificate. In addition to building a solid academic foundation in securities regulation, candidates must also complete 2 externships in the field of securities law. These externships can be with regulatory bodies, in industry associations, law firms, or other service providers to the securities industry. And through these externships, the candidate really obtains a great deal of valuable hands-on experience grappling with real-world issues. Candidates who complete the certificate program in securities law are therefore exceptionally well prepared to practice law in the field, and this year's candidates are no exception. These candidates are more than ready to tackle the challenges of practicing in this complex and very dynamic field of law. The first of our candidates is Thomas Archer. This year, Thomas served as the president of the Securities Law Students Association, the student affinity group for the securities law program, in which role he was a great help to me in administering the program and just sort of trying to keep things on an even keel. As a second-year student, Thomas was a member of the team that represented the law school in the Kaufman Securities Law Moot Court competition, which is held every year up at Fordham Law School. And this year, as a third-year student, he served as a coach to that team, accompanying the team up to the oral arguments which were held up at Fordham. Thomas was also a student panelist at our conference on ESG investing under the public securities law, which we held last fall. During the past 2 years, Thomas completed 2 internships at the SEC, one with the Division of Enforcement in their whistleblower office, and one with the Division of Investment Management in the Office of Disclosure Review and Accounting. Thomas also interned with the Investment Company Institute for 3 semesters, working with the Institute's attorneys on a wide variety of regulatory issues that affect the mutual fund industry. After graduation, Thomas will be joining the firm of Sidley Austin as an associate attorney in their securities enforcement and regulatory practice. Our next recipient is Tyler Buckles. Tyler served as a peer mentor to other students as the Dean's Academic Fellow, a role of which he says he is most proud. He also served as a staff editor on the Law Review and was a student panelist at our conference on ESG investing. Tyler completed internships with the legal clinic, with the federal judge, and with the Investment Company Institute. He was a summer associate last summer at the law firm of Blank Rome, and after graduation, he was joining Blank Rome as an associate in their corporate mergers and acquisitions and securities practice, specifically focusing on investment management law. Our next candidate is Sydney Chair. While in law school, Sydney obtained a wide range of hands-on experience by completing 5 different internships for securities-related organizations. These organizations were Transparent Financial Systems, a cryptocurrency software startup, where she researched the regulation of cryptocurrencies. The Investment Company Institute, where she researched and analyzed issues relating to the regulation of mutual funds. The Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association, or SIFM, where she worked with both the Office of General Counsel and the Prudential and Capital teams to develop a policy regarding how the brokerage industry should comply with Russian sanctions. The DC Department of Insurance, Securities and Banking, where she researched banking law issues. And finally, Okapi Partners, a New York-based consulting firm, where she researched and addressed issues relating to corporate proxy solicitations, mergers and acquisitions, and shareholder actions. Sydney was also active in the Securities Law Student Association and the Black Law Students Association. She served as BALSA's head of social media, secretary, and historian for the 2022-23 school year. Sydney will be sitting for the DC Bar this coming July. Our next recipient is Tanner Gattuso. Tanner served as a note and comment editor on the Catholic University Law Review. He also served as a free-on class senator for the Student Bar Association and was a member of the school's national mock trial team for the past 2 years. Tanner served as a Cardinal Crew mentor, and received the Extra Mile Award for contributions to law school. I had the honor of working with Tanner as a faculty reviewer for an article that he wrote that analyzing a particularly fascinating insider trading case brought by the SEC based on a novel theory of liability. That article will be published in volume 72 of the Catholic University Law Review. Post-graduation, Tanner will be joining the law firm of Baker and Hostetler as an associate in their Washington, D.C. office. Our next candidate is Dessel Lee, who unfortunately was unable to join us here today. As a second-year student, Dessel represented the law school as a member of the Cosmin Securities Law Moot Court team, and this year she served as a coach to that team. She was also a student panelist at our conference on ESG investing under the federal securities laws. She authored an article comparing ESG regulation in the United States with ESG regulation in the European Union. She volunteers at the Catholic Charities of Baltimore Esperanza Center of Immigration Legal Services. And after graduation, she will be joining Rock Creek Group, a global investment firm, as an in-house associate. The next recipient is Isaac Lee. I first met Isaac in the introduction to securities law class that I teach, where he could always be called on to ask me challenging questions and keeping me on my toes and keeping me having to, do extra studying and not to stay ahead of him. Isaac interned at two law firms, gaining great hands-on experience. The first firm was Munson, where among other things, he researched issues relating to liability under the Securities Act of 1933 and the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. His second internship was with the law firm of Ruddy Gregory, a boutique law firm that specializes in derivatives and other issues that affect the alternative investment community. In that position, Isaac researched issues relating to the regulation of derivatives under the rules of the National Futures Association, and also researched the fiduciary duties and legal relationships between sophisticated partners with interest rate swap transactions. Post-graduation, Isaac will be looking to obtain a position in the field of securities law. Our next two candidates are both graduating from the evening program, and by way of introduction, I want to say that I have always been impressed by the drive and energy of students who can both attend law school and pull down a full-time job at the same time. Mostly that respect comes from the fact that I don't think I could have done it. The first of these two candidates is David McMillan. In addition to working full-time as a paralegal at the law firm of Jackson and Campbell, David also served as a staff editor on the Law Review, served as a Dean's Academic Fellow, assisting first-year and second-year students with the development of study skills, and he also made the Dean's List in all but 2 semesters during his 4 years of law school. Post-graduation, David will continue working at Jackson and Campbell, but will be doing so in his new role as an associate at that. The other evening student candidate is Raymond Moskowitz. While working full-time as a coordinator in the Office of General Counsel at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Ray also served as staff editor of the Catholic University Law Review and as vice president of the Evening Law Students Association, in which role he was a member of the Council for Professional Conduct. After graduation, Ray will be taking the DC bar and looking to obtain a position in the field of securities law. Our final certificate candidate is John Sullivan. John served as an associate editor of the Catholic University Law Review and was active in a number of organizations on campus, including the Moot Court Association and the Siegenthaler Problem Team. John interned with the SEC's Division of Enforcement and also served as a clerk for the Fairfax Circuit Court. He says his favorite memories of law school include his first class with Professor Perez, learning about the case of Hawkins v. McGee, and his first class with Father O'Brien, learning how everything happened at the tomb. After graduation, John will join the law firm of McGuire Woods as an associate in their government investigations and white-collar practice. Finally, in addition to the certificate program in securities law, the school offers a concentration in securities law. The main difference between the two programs being that the concentration does not require the completion of externships. This year, we recognize one student who completed the requirements for concentration in securities law. That student is Reed Burrows. Reed served as the executive editor of the Catholic University Law Review, and in spite of the excellent training in securities law that he's received, he has for some reason decided to pursue a career in tax law. Post graduation, Reed will be joining the firm of Strategic Tax Planning in Annapolis, Maryland. I'd like to congratulate all the candidates once again on a job very well done. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jack. That concludes our certificate program. Thank you all for joining us, and congratulations to the certificate earners and graduates. We will see you tomorrow, but first we invite you to join us for a reception in the atrium here. And I ask that all the certificate earners and the respective faculty members to join me at the foot of the steps out here for pictures. Thanks very much.